Have you ever laid in bed, completely exhausted, eyes closed, body still, but your mind is running a full marathon, replaying a conversation from 3 days ago, planning tomorrow, worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet, analyzing why someone said what they said and what they really meant by it? Everyone around you is fast asleep, and you're lying there wide awake, not because you aren't tired, but because your brain simply refuses to stop. If this sounds familiar, I want you to know something important before we go any further. There is nothing wrong with you. In fact, psychology says the complete opposite is true. Today, we are going to go deep into the overthinker's brain. What is actually happening inside it? Why it never seems to switch off? And why this exhausting trait is secretly one of the most powerful gifts a human mind can possess. If you have ever been told you think too much, you feel too deeply, or you need to just relax, this video was made specifically for you. Stay until the end, because the last part will completely change how you see your own mind forever. What is actually happening in an overthinker's brain? First, let's understand what is actually going on inside the brain of someone who can't stop thinking. Neuroscientists have identified a network inside the human brain called the default mode network, or DMN. This is the part of your brain that activates when you are not focused on any specific external task. In most people, the DMN quietly hums in the background. In overthinkers, it runs at full volume almost constantly. Think of it like this. Most people have a light switch in their brain. When they're done with a task, they flip the switch off and the mind goes quiet. Overthinkers don't have a switch. They have a dimmer, and it never goes all the way down. Research from Harvard Medical School found that people with highly active default mode networks show significantly higher levels of self-reflection, empathy, and creative thinking. In other words, your brain isn't broken. It is simply running a more complex operating system than most people around you. Why overthinkers replay conversations? One of the most exhausting habits of an overthinker is replaying conversations. Sometimes days or even weeks after they happened. You said something in a meeting. You replay it on the drive home. You replay it in the shower. You wake up at 2 a.m. and replay it again. Why? Psychology calls this process post-event processing. It isn't random anxiety. It is your brain's way of searching for information it feels it might have missed. Overthinkers have minds that are deeply wired for accuracy and understanding. They don't just want to know what happened, they want to know why it happened, what it meant, and how it could have gone differently. This is actually the same mental process used by the world's greatest strategists, writers, and leaders. The difference is that overthinkers apply this powerful analytical tool to everyday life, which can feel overwhelming from the inside, but is in reality a sign of an exceptionally detail-oriented mind. Why overthinkers catastrophize? Another thing overthinkers do that the world completely misunderstands is catastrophizing, immediately imagining the worst possible outcome of any situation. You send an important message and don't get a reply. Your mind immediately goes, "Did I say something wrong? Are they angry at me? Is this friendship over?" From the outside, this looks like unnecessary panic. But from a psychological perspective, this is your brain running what scientists call threat simulation. Your mind is essentially stress testing every possible outcome so that you are never caught completely off guard. Evolutionary psychologists believe this trait was actually a survival advantage. The humans who anticipated danger, who asked, "But what if something goes wrong?" were the ones who survived. Catastrophizing isn't weakness. It is an ancient form of mental preparation that your brain is still running in a modern world. The key is learning to observe it without being controlled by it. And we will talk about exactly how to do that at the end of this video. Before we continue, if you have recognized yourself in even one of these points so far, hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second and it tells me that this kind of content is genuinely helping people who need to hear it. And drop a comment below telling me, what does your brain overthink the most? Decisions, conversations, the future? I read every single comment and I would love to know. Now let's keep going, because what comes next is the part most people never get to hear about overthinkers. The hidden strengths of the overthinker's brain. Here is what nobody tells overthinkers. Every single trait that makes your mind exhausting is also what makes it extraordinary. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Strength 1. Overthinkers are exceptional empaths. Because your brain constantly analyzes conversations, motivations, and emotions, yours and other people's, you develop a depth of emotional understanding that most people never reach. You feel things deeply because you think about them deeply. That is not a curse. That is the foundation of genuine human connection. Strength 2. Overthinkers are natural problem solvers. That brain that runs through every worst-case scenario, it is also the brain that already has 3 backup plans ready before anyone else even realizes there is a problem. Organizations, families, and relationships quietly rely on overthinkers to think ahead, even when no one acknowledges it. Strength 3. Overthinkers produce exceptional creative work. The most celebrated writers, artists, filmmakers, and musicians in history were overwhelmingly overthinkers. The depth of feeling and the obsessive attention to detail that makes daily life feel heavy is exactly what produces work that moves people deeply. Your overthinking is not separate from your creativity. It is the source of it. Strength 5. Overthinkers grow faster than almost anyone. Because you never stop analyzing your own behavior, your mistakes, your patterns, your reactions, you are in a constant state of self-examination that most people actively avoid. This is uncomfortable, but it is also the fastest path to genuine self-awareness and personal growth that exists. How to work with your overthinking brain. Now, let's talk about something practical. You cannot switch your brain off, and you should not try to. But you can learn to work with it instead of against it. First, name what your brain is doing. When you catch yourself spiraling, say it out loud or write it down. I am catastrophizing right now. I am replaying that conversation again. Simply naming the process creates a tiny gap between you and the thought. That gap is where your power lives. Second, give your brain a specific problem to solve. An overthinker's brain spirals when it has no direction. Give it a focused task, journaling, planning, writing, creating, and watch it transform from anxious chaos into laser-focused brilliance. Channel the energy. Don't try to stop it. Third, set a worry window. This sounds simple, but it is backed by cognitive behavioral therapy research. Choose a specific 15-minute window each day, say 8 p.m., and tell yourself that all worrying happens then. When an anxious thought appears at 2 p.m., you tell your brain, "Noted, we will think about that at 8. Over time, your brain actually learns this pattern. Fourth, stop apologizing for how deeply you feel. The world will sometimes make you feel like your sensitivity and depth are inconveniences. They are not. They are the most human thing about you. Protect them. The overthinker's brain never truly switches off because it was never designed to. It was designed to go deeper, feel more, see further, and understand what others simply walk past without noticing. Yes, it is exhausting sometimes. Yes, it keeps you up at night. Yes. It makes simple decisions feel monumental, but it also makes you the person in the room who actually understands what is happening beneath the surface, the one who sees what others miss, the one who cares enough to keep thinking long after everyone else has moved on. That mind of yours, the one you have been told is too much, too sensitive, too intense, is not your burden. It is your blueprint, and the world needs more people who refuse to stop thinking deeply about it. So the next time your brain won't switch off at midnight, instead of fighting it, take a breath and remember, this is simply what it feels like to have a mind that was built for more than the surface. That is today's video. If this resonated with you, please hit the like button, share this with someone whose brain never stops either, and subscribe so you never miss a new video. Leave a comment below and tell me, does your brain keep you up at night, and what does it think about most? I read every single one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.